Hey y'all, it's Dinosa. I'm just talking about a movie called The Gray, was starring William Neeson, and just a regular cast of B actors, nothing that special. But what this story is typically another survival story. Has a twist end, but it makes sense. So basically, the character Liam Neeson is up in Alaska, and he's been hired by an oil company to shoot and kill these wolves that attack their people, their employees. Now, the reason why the wolves attack them because they're thinking they're food on that. But here's the thing: wolves normally do not attack something that's larger with them unless they're in a pack and unless they feel they can win. Unlike some creatures, wolves are pretty smart. They'll operate in packs, and they will if they feel they can't do it one on one, they'll get other wolves to help them. So the whole movie starts off with Liam Neeson describing the place he's in and how it's full of ex-cons, that people are hiding from the law and everything. And he goes in the bar, starts slamming whiskey, and then goes out to do his shift and just kill wolves on that. So he's out there, and and he keeps having reflections of a girl, which we're supposed to believe is his wife. That them in bed, kind of staring at each other, going, "It's okay, it's okay," and his whole life. And he writes a letter to himself saying, or her saying, "It's I want to be with you. I know it's not possible from where I'm at, but I really want to be with you." Um, so the whole movie is he's really strange because he misses this girl. But he's up in Alaska doing this. Now, a common question would be, well, if you miss her that much, why are you up there? Well, it could be money. But they don't pay people that much, professional hunters like that, that much money. They pay them more than the average worker, that's for sure, on that, because they have to remain attentive to what's going on. Um, so so he goes up, and eventually, at some point, that Liam Neeson and a whole bunch of other people are flying to another oil refinery that's out in the tip of Alaska. And during the flight, the people, the workers, are just mouthing off, and he's trying to get some sleep, and he just keeps picturing the girl that he misses. And then the plane eventually hits turbulence and breaks apart, and then it crashes. And he's dreaming this whole time he's with this girl, and then he wakes up in snow. He gets up and he looks around and he sees what has happened to the plane. His survival instincts kick in, and he starts helping people to get out of their seats, get fire. One of the people are injured critically with blood spraying out of their stomach, and you ever see something like that, unless you have medical services really close, it's not much you really can do. It's in the Almighty's hands at that point. But here's the thing. Here is Liam Neeson's character trying to save the day, trying to help everyone out that he can on that, and he eventually tells this guy, "You're going to die. And I'm sorry, but I'm here with you. Hey, I'm here with you. I'm going to be with you till you die." All right. So he eventually dies, and everyone's freaking out. And Liam Neeson starts bossing people around. He's like, "We need to get a fire going." They're like, "Why?" It's just because it's going to get below 10 degrees in here, and we need this, or we're going to die. So they start scrapping together anything, seat covers, magazines, anything they could burn. So they're getting that together, and they use, I believe, jet fuel to ignite it, so they can get a fire going. And they have the fire going, and all of them are resting comfortably, and they're drinking off the stores, the whiskey, the food things that came with it by cooking them in the fire. And then while Liam Neeson starts to look around, he notices a wolf eating one of the bodies. No, he hears a sound. He thinks it's a human. He's like, "I'm coming." He looks up, and it's a wolf eating a body. And he's like, "Oh." And he runs over, he's like, "Get out of here," and he starts stabbing him, stabbing this wolf, and the wolf looks at him and just starts attacking him, and as soon as all of his other guys that are in by the fireplace starts running out, the wolf takes off. And that's not a good thing with wolves, because that means he's going to get his buddies. because they operate in packs. And what interesting about this movie, it shows a hierarchy of not only wolves, but also shows in a survival situation how the hierarchy can break down as well. So Liam Neeson knows the wolves are there. He says, we're going to have to wait tonight, and then we're going to have to go run for the trees. He says, and they're like, this is nuts. We should just wait for the plane. They're going to see us. They said they send 50 planes over today. It's going to take them at least 2 days to figure out they've lost a plane. So they agreed to go to the trees, and they strip everyone here. One of them finds a watch with a transmitter that goes up half a mile for GPS emergencies. Now, here's the thing. You have the watch. You have the plane's shelter. Why didn't anyone say, hey, let's make a perimeter with like some of the broken metal and just make it so these wolves can't get in? And for all the dead bodies, we'll just throw them out there in sequential, or cut them open and give them the wolves something to feed on that for a day or two before everybody else starts to come, the help comes. Now this might seem cruel, but when you're dead and your body's out there, this goes back to the movie I believe Airplane, not Airplane, but A1 or something, I forget. But it talks about an incident that happened where people had to eat other people to make it, for the rescue to arrive. In this case, they could have just put the bodies out in a perimeter. They had the GPS watch that was going to get a hold of someone on that to do it, and the planes fly on a consistent pattern over the same spot. So someone is going to see something eventually. But that's not what they did. They decided to make a run for the trees. So they make a run for the trees, and the wolves start chasing them. In pack formation, of course, they make it to the trees, and they find this little valley where the wolves can't surround them, and they start making fires, and the wolves kind of back off. So then what's interesting is that the wolves send in what they call the Omega Wolf, the last ranking wolf, to test them and to see. Well, the Omega Wolf comes down and looks at them, and they're just like, they have their spears they've already made with shotgun shell tips at the end. Oh, that reminds me, before they left to go on the trees, Liam Neeson finds his rifle and just sees ice on it and throws it in the ground. There's nothing wrong with the damn thing, it's just ice. Just, you know what, click it, hold it over the fire on that, it'll be fine. You know, I didn't see the barrel bent. I might have missed that part, but it looked okay to me. It looked functionable to me. We just gotta defrost it. Oh well. So anyway, they're going out and they make these little sticks to fend off the wolves, and they get to this one little valley where they're making a little campfire, and then one of the wolves, the Omega Wolf, starts, you know, like growling at them, and they're like, all right, bring it on. And then he leaves, and as he turns away and goes back, one of the guys starts to get pissed at Liam Neeson. Says, this is all your fault. If we weren't here, we wouldn't be in this situation. He said, if you weren't here, you'd be food to them back on the plane. And the guy draws a knife on Neeson, and Neeson's like, bring it on that. And then he whips his ass, and then he just says, so you're going to stop this right now. On that, we need you alive, and we need you on the same side as us. I do not want to be fighting with you. But as this is going on, the Omega Wolf comes back down and growls, and he hands him the knife back, and eventually the Omega Wolf leaves, and then they start talking. Then it comes up and just grabs one of the guys, starts biting him. And everybody else comes and they kills this wolf. Now, these guys are so hungry and so mad, they start to cook the wolf. Now, what happened is wolves are very curious creatures. They'll smell their own kind dying or being cooked. On that, they're very pack animals. And what it was a comparison, because when they were cooking one of their own, and the other guys realize they were being watched. The guy that the wolf attacked goes over to the wolf they're cooking, cuts his head off, and goes and throws it at him, and says, you know, bring it on. Or he starts howling like a wolf. And then all of them start getting really loud, and then they all shut up because the alpha wolf showed up and heard this. But then later on, you heard them a big fight on that between a couple of wolves and the alpha. And Liam Neeson makes this comment. I don't know what the challenge was about. Which probably the challenge was the same thing they were fighting about here, where the wolves are like, one of our own just got our head cut off due to your leadership. And I think that's what happened. So they cut his head off. This sounds bad. They cut this poor creature's head off, and then they go. And then they decide they're going to have to make another run for it on that, because this is not going to hold up forever. So they make a run for it, and one of the other people can't handle the high altitude and eventually succumbs and dies. And then they get into a group of trees, which then they rappel across, and one guy, the rope or lapel system breaks, the guy falls, hits the tree, falls down, breaks his back or something, all the wolves show up and eat him. Now here's the thing, when they found the ravine, they assumed the wolves weren't on that side, but all of a sudden the wolves were on that side. So then they were making a run for the river, and once they get to the river, they should be able to find some civilization somewhere, either north or south. So he kept walking along the river, and then eventually one of the guys just gives up. Says, my knee is busted, I can't go further anymore, just go. They accept he has chosen death, and in a way it was buying them some time to get away by being bait. So then eventually the wolves get past the dire state. They start chasing Liam Neeson's character, and then runs after the other two. And then the other guy the last remaining guy, then Liam Neeson, falls into the river, gets his foot caught, and drowns. And Liam Neeson tried to save him. And then Liam Neeson keeps walking and walking and walking, and eventually he's so tired, he starts to take the wallets out that he collected from everyone, and then starts putting them in a pattern, and then takes the GPS watch to put it there. And I think what it was, he was attempting to tell whoever finds this, here are the families that died. But what he didn't realize is he walked right into the den where these wolves were. So what he did was he grabbed, he taped the knife to his survival knife to his hand, and then he took 3 bottles of whiskey, taped that to his hand, broke the bottles, and eventually told the wolf, like, let's do it, let's bring it on. And then he charged. And that's how the whole movie ends. Now here's the things you need to consider. One, okay, if in the film, if planes are going over there all the time, and they discover they have one of these watches on that, and all they had to do was make a perimeter on that, they didn't have to go anywhere. And within a day or two, someone will find them. And now here's the thing, they spend a day or two running from these wolves, which then got them away from the original crash site, which separated them from any chance of survival. And they had no map, no compass, nothing, just their wits. It was a foolhardy maneuver. And here's the other thing, you know those watches that have GPS? They often have a compass. Wait a minute, what's that? A compass. That tells you which direction you're going. So if you knew the flight plan, because it showed it on a television screen on that, and if you knew which direction you were facing, you would probably have a better chance of knowing where civilization was just by the direction and where you were. So there were a lot of fallacies in this movie, I thought. But I think the similarity of the pack mentality is neat, and to really understand it, you have to understand wolf or dog mentality with the alpha wolf concept. But anyway, it is a decent movie. I think it's an Amazon rental, not a theater one. But anyway, this is Dinosa signing off. Have a good day.